What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want us to discuss the PulseChain sacrifice capital that is ready to be deployed once PulseChain actually launches. So leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this kind of analysis on PulseChain before it launches. Be subscribed by the end of the video if you aren't already. And let's talk about this, okay? So if you're not in the Telegram group, first of all, I suggest going into the Telegram group. It's pretty simple to find it. Just go to PulseChain.com on Twitter. Fun fact, we just crossed 10K followers, so that's pretty fucking awesome. And the link is right here, t.me/PulseChain.com. You can also go to PulseChain.com, which links you to the Telegram and the Twitter as well. So plenty of ways to find your way here. And in the Telegram group, someone put up this poll, okay? And I'm going to show you what the poll is in just a second. Now, the poll is this, and it's how much are you sacrificing in value? There's probably a typo here, but yeah, definitely some typos here. But effectively, or what I gathered from here is this is US dollar denominated sacrifice value that people are willing to deploy once PulseChain sacrifice phase opens up, which we're getting some news. Actually, I had to stop the Richard Hart stream, just paused it for a second so I can make this video. So I'm going to watch that soon. But we're getting some news that it could be literally within a few days, if not a week. I know that's a meme at this point, like days, not weeks. We were told this like a month ago. Software is difficult, right? The point being, this is the data we got. And you can't just, unless you're like a freaking genius, you can't just look at this and say, oh, there's this much capital ready to be deployed. So you actually have to kind of do some math. And what better do we do on this channel, right? So we did some math on this data, which is 2,062 votes with these percentages of this many people. And then we also used, okay, we did 3 scenarios here, and I'm about to show you. But the cool part is that minimum capital ready to be deployed for PulseChain is approximately $180 million. Okay? Let me get rid of this because I'm not too sure about the volume ramp, to be honest. Quite yet. I'll just leave it there for now. But let me explain, right? So out of the total of 2,062 votes, right, with these respective percentages, 18, 25, 15, and so on, 18, 25, 15, and so on, you just simply take a percentage of this, which tells you how many actual people voted in each specific level or strata or whatever. And so we had 371 people say they're going to sacrifice $1 to $1,000. 500 or so people say they're going to sacrifice $1 to $10K, and so on. And you actually have 144 votes for sacrificing over $1 million plus, which is absolutely insane in my opinion. And so since these are ranges, we had to kind of make these three tiers, I guess, because so let me explain. I made this bearish level, which is, well, what if this percentage sacrifices the minimum amount of that range? So in this case, the 1 to 1K, this assumes these 371 people sacrifice $1, okay? And for the next tier, it assumes they sacrifice just 1,000, right? The lower end of the range. So this whole column is simply, what if everyone that voted here sacrifices the lower end of the range? So $1, 1,000, 5,000. Whereas here on the bullish column, it's the opposite, right? It's the converse, where what if everyone sacrifices the upper range of, or the upper bound of the range? So in this case, $1,000, $5,000. I hope that makes sense. And with the last one, which says $1 million plus, you definitely do have to come up with some discretion, which is why I kind of highlighted these a different color, saying, okay, well, 1 million to 10 million, even though it only says $1 million plus. And in reality, I mean, there could be people ready to deploy more than 10 million, but I thought it was fair enough to say, like, just the same as over here, you have a 10x, or, well, not a 10x range, but rather, I guess you actually don't, right? But I mean, let me know what you guys think. Is it fair, 10 million here to set as the upper limit? It could be 20, 30, because it only says $1 million plus, right? So these 2 data points are definitely discretionary, I guess. And with a neutral, it's pretty simple. I just took the midpoint of these ranges, right? So the most fair assumption, the most fair analysis, I guess. So if you're bearish, then $182 million are ready to be deployed. If you're simply neutral on these ranges and these poll answers, these voters, then you're looking at potentially $893 million ready to be deployed. That's a shitload. And if you're on the bullish end of what if everyone here sacrifices the upper end of these ranges, and assuming 10 million is the upper range of this 1 million plus level, then you're looking at potentially $1.6 billion. Bro, $1.6 billion. I'm talking cash, liquid crypto capital ready just to be deployed. Well, not only crypto, right? Some people will sacrifice USD and stocks and stuff. So, I mean, that's a lot of freaking money, man. Anywhere from $180 million to $1.6 billion. That's a lot, in my opinion. Just ready on the sidelines, just literally waiting for the announcement. Obviously, this entire model assumes some things, and that's why you see them here. It assumes honesty, first of all. It assumes that everyone who voted isn't just trolling, right? Which, you know, crypto, you know, Twitter, you know, Telegram. There are trolls out there. So again, this entire model assumes everyone voted with honesty. It assumes that everyone actually, you know, even if they did have the initial intention to do what they said they were going to do, they might not adhere to that. So adherence of actually, you know, going in with the intention of doing something and actually doing it. Some people might back out or change their mind and don't have an actual solid plan. And so these are two assumptions, honesty and adherence, which might actually have us be overshooting on these numbers. But then we have this assumption, or rather this externality of maybe we have missing voters. Maybe everyone who's ready to deploy capital didn't vote, which is very likely, right? I'd assume these aren't all of the people that are going to sacrifice capital. I'd assume there are more than 2,062 people that either are in the Telegram group or either didn't want to respond to the poll. Maybe they just didn't see the poll, and so on. So if you wanna analyze it that way, you could say that those missing voters kind of make up for the trolls and the adherence and the honesty. So you could argue it balances out, but I just wanted to point out the kind of the assumptions and nuances that are present here in this model, right? Because no model is perfect. But with that said, this rough model does suggest we could be seeing anywhere from $181 million to $1.6 billion ready to be deployed. So that's your PulseChain analysis for this video. I have a lot of people asking about things like what the price of Pulse will be, what the price of PHEX will be, all that stuff. And it's really hard to tell because we're going to go off into a rant here just to finish off the video, that when you create a coin, right, you are generally speaking the first to create the Uniswap pools, right? And fun fact, just for fun, okay? I've never said this on video. Oh my god. I made a shitcoin a while back just for fun, just to deploy an ERC20 and just see how it all worked. And I even created the Uniswap pool and everything. That's a whole other story. I can talk about that some other time. Let me know if you guys are interested in that in the comments. But it never went public, by the way. So it's not like people knew about it. It was just like kind of an internal private experiment. But what was I getting at? Oh yeah, the first person to create an ERC20 is generally the first person to deploy the Uniswap pools, right? And why does that matter? Well, because in DeFi, in what I would consider to be real crypto, price is not set by an order book ran by some fucking exchange, but rather price is set by a ratio of liquidity pools. So, first person to create an ERC20 or PRC20 in this case, is going to be the first to set the liquidity pools, to set the ratio. So as the initial liquidity provider for your coin, you more or less set the price. You set the initial price. And so not only that, you choose the pair with which you choose to provide liquidity. So whenever you talk about speculation on Pulse or PHEX or all of that, you have to think about these things. Like, it's almost impossible to predict, in my opinion, because it's literally up to, it could be one or a few people at the start. after the initial liquidity is set, after the ratio is set and the pools are created and you can trade on Uniswap, blah, 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 then at that point, the market takes control and drives prices in whatever direction it wants based on price discovery, market dynamics, all that good stuff. So that's it, right? So whoever sets the initial Pulse liquidity pool, PLS liquidity pool, you need to ask yourself, okay, what is the pair going to be? Is it going to be PLS PUSDC, like some stablecoin on Pulse? Will we even have that? Is it going to be, PLS PLS PHEX? Like, we don't know, man. We don't know what the initial liquidity is going to be. Maybe it's PLS PETH, because we're going to have a bridge, and maybe the creator of this has a lot of ETH that they want to bridge over to PETH and set the liquidity to be PLS PETH as the main liquidity pair. So we just don't know, right? You can speculate, and I'd actually love to hear your thoughts, because I've been thinking about this stuff for a minute now and throwing the thoughts out there on the Whales Only live stream that we did a couple days ago. Check that out. I presented this idea, and he was actually like, you know what? I haven't thought about that yet, which that's my goal here, right? I want to provide you guys with new kind of seeds so you can come up with these thoughts that maybe people hadn't been discussing yet. And I haven't heard really people talking about this, so just wanted to throw that out there, that price will depend on the ratio of liquidity pools. That will depend on obviously who sets the initial liquidity pools and decides the ratio on what pair, right? We don't even know what pair it's going to be set at. And same goes with PHEX, right? We don't know what the majority pair. It would make sense for it to be PLS, but then you have to think about, well, why isn't HEX then majority pair on ETH? Well, because we don't want the reflexivity of ETH in a bear market. So it's mainly USDC on the Ethereum blockchain. However, on the PulseChain blockchain, we don't know if we're going to have a stable coin like just ready to rock. And right, we don't know if it's going to be under collateralized, over collateralized. Like, stable coins are a whole different beast in and of themselves. So just a lot to think about. I am very, very interested in how stablecoins will work on PulseChain. Again, under collateralized, over collateralized, fractional reserve, whatever. It'll be interesting to watch. That's pretty much your video. I'm bullish in this on these numbers. Even the worst case scenario, quote unquote, $180 million just ready to sacrifice, is bullish in my opinion. So even the worst case scenario gets me bullish. 180 million. Given that we might have a volume ramp, again, these numbers are literally just dollar amount divided by a million to show you how many million are potentially ready. So here, 182 million, 893 million, 1600 million is about 1.6 billion. And so, yeah, that's your video. Just wanted to point that out. If you guys haven't seen this kind of math, like what kind of capital is ready to be deployed in potentially the next few days, we'll see. Happy sacrificing. Happy 4th of July weekend. If you're in the States, then go ahead and celebrate. Be safe, right? Don't get too fucked up. And yeah, appreciate you watching. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe. Let's get to 4K subs. And with that said, I will catch you in the next video. Peace.